Which character just broke you when they died? For me, it used to be Kenny, but then I just stopped caring. Crushed, burned, or shot, it didn't matter because he always came back. But there were other characters who weren't so lucky. They died forever. Take Jason White. His funeral broke my heart even though I'd never really noticed him. Nobody did. He wore a purple jacket, had this weirdly receding hairline for a 10-year-old, and showed up in crowd scenes since the very first episode. For 23 seasons, he was just there, filling out the playground, making South Park Elementary feel like a real school. That was basically his whole personality. He loved sports, he played on every team, he yelled occasional one-liners that I forgot the second I heard them, and honestly, that was what made me like him once I started paying attention. He wasn't trying to be anyone special, he was just a kid who wanted to play football with his friends.
This playground is for metrosexuals, Macho Man.
Then, season finale aired. The boys were playing touch football in the park. Cartman threw a pass, Jason sprinted into the street yelling, "Dude, I'm open!" and a speeding cop car slammed into him at full speed. He died on impact. The open casket funeral showed tire tracks across his face. I know it's South Park and this is the brand, but damn! Tire tracks on his face in the casket was just too much. That's what got me. 23 seasons of existing in the background and his big moment was getting flattened while trying to catch a pass? The episode turned his death into satire about white grievance culture, with his family complaining nobody cared when a white got killed by police. Clever joke, sure, but underneath it was a kid who never hurt anybody, dying because Matt and Trey needed a punchline. But at least Jason got a funeral with his name on it. Diane Chokesondik didn't even get a proper explanation for what killed her. I'll be honest, when Miss Chokesondik first showed up, I laughed at her name. I was a kid, the joke was right there. Even talking about it now feels juvenile, but I was a stupid boy and everything dirty was hilarious. She walked into South Park Elementary as the new 4th grade teacher after Mr. Garrison left to figure out his sexuality in the mountains. She had saggy breasts hanging past her waist, a lazy eye, and a name that was literally a dirty joke the kids in the show didn't even understand. Matt and Trey designed her to be gross, but as I saw more of her, the name stopped being funny. It just became sad.
I have nothing but the highest expectations for them, and with God as my witness,
Oh.
I'm going to teach these kids the wonders of the world so that they can reach the top.
Because watching her again, she was just a woman trying to teach 4th grade. She wanted those kids to learn. She tried to maintain order in a classroom full of monsters. She fell into a tender, weird relationship with Mr. Mackey because she was lonely. She wasn't lazy. She was a teacher cursed with an unfortunate name and an unfortunate face, doing her best. And then the boys bought a Sea Monkeys kit, got disappointed when they were just brine shrimp, and Eric decided to prank her. They dumped some into her coffee. She died. The autopsy revealed Mr. Mackey's semen in her stomach from their relationship, but the coroner confirmed that wasn't what killed her. The show never actually explained what did. Cartman hid inside her corpse at the morgue. The class got 2 weeks off from school, Mr. Garrison came back to reclaim his job, and nobody ever mentioned her again. That broke my heart even more than I expected. She existed for 3 seasons, got killed by a gross joke, and got tossed the moment Garrison wanted his classroom back. Matt and Trey created her, used her, and threw her in the dumpster. Miss Chokesondik's death was confusing and gross, but Pip was just trying to be a hero. Pip was the kid I was supposed to make fun of, but I always kinda rooted for him.
But I have to spend my summer in summer school because I can't be left alone. You see, my parents are dead.
Your parents are dead? God damn you, suck, Pip.
He was a polite British exchange student. He wore a bow tie and knickers, he spoke in this formal accent that made every other kid want to punch him. He tried desperately to make friends with kids who hated him just for existing. Cartman tortured him constantly, Stan and Kyle barely tolerated him. And every time I watched him get shoved around, I saw every quiet kid I went to school with. The ones who talked weird or dressed weird or just didn't fit in. The ones who got picked on for no reason except they existed. That was Pip. He never did anything to deserve the hatred he got, but Pip never stopped trying. That's what got me. He'd get bullied in one episode and show up smiling in the next, ready to be friendly all over again. He was based on the orphan from Charles Dickinson's Great Expectations, and the show leaned into that connection. He even got his own dedicated episode, 14, in Season 4, a full retelling of the novel with Malcolm McDowell narrating. It was weird and nobody liked it, but it meant Pip was important enough to carry a whole episode. Then, Butters showed up. Matt and Trey needed a lovable loser, a nice kid who could absorb abuse and keep coming back. Butters fit that role better. He was funnier. His family drama gave the writers more material. Pip got demoted to background furniture and stayed there for 8 years. Just existing. Just waiting. Then, the infamous 200 and 201 two-parter. Mecha Streisand returned to destroy South Park. The giant robotic Barbara Streisand from Season 1 was back for revenge, stomping through town and crushing everything in her path. And Pip stepped forward while everyone else ran. He politely asked Mecha Streisand to please stop destroying that town. She crushed him flat under her giant foot without a second thought. Blood splattered everywhere. That hurt, because of course Pip was the one who tried. Of course the kid everyone bullied was the one with actual courage, and his reward for being braver than everyone else was getting turned into a pancake. The show rewarded that bravery by making him a pancake. Pip's death was absurd and instant. Margaret Nelson's death felt uncomfortably real. Mrs. Nelson was the most normal teacher South Park ever had, and weirdly, that's why I liked her.
Sometimes you can. Knock it off!
Is there a problem, guys?
Mrs. Nelson appeared across 5 seasons without ever becoming a meme or a punchline. She didn't have a catchphrase, she didn't have a weird voice. She was just a competent teacher in the background, doing her job while the chaos swirled around her. And honestly, after years of watching Mr. Garrison have mental breakdowns, Miss Chokesondik's collapse from sea monkeys, and Principal Victoria getting fired for no reason, Mrs. Nelson felt like quite a relief. She was the kind of teacher I would have wanted in real life, the kind who showed up, did her job, and didn't make her students feel like they were at war every day. Mrs. Nelson appeared across 5 seasons without ever becoming a meme or a punchline. She didn't have a catchphrase, she didn't have a weird voice, she was just a competent teacher in the background, doing her job while chaos swirled around her. After years of watching teachers and this show be unhinged disasters, she was a relief. Then, the COVID specials happened. In the South Park vaccination special, Cartman and Kenny pranked her by putting a ketchup packet in her chair. When she sat down, it looked like she got her period in front of the whole class. Humiliated, she quit on the spot, admitting she hadn't been vaccinated yet and felt unsafe teaching. The boys felt guilty. They decided to get vaccines for the teachers as an apology. The whole episode became a mad scramble through conspiracy theorists and vaccine shortages. They got the shots, they rushed to the school, they were too late. Mrs. Nelson had already contracted COVID-19. She started coughing violently in class and died right there in front of everyone. Scott Malkinson burst into tears, the whole town held a funeral, Mr. Garrison reclaimed his desk. The timing made it worse. The special aired in March 2021 when vaccines were just becoming available and people were dying every day from the same disease that killed Mrs. Nelson. I'd lost people, a lot of us had. Watching her cough out her last breath in a cartoon classroom didn't feel like a comedy anymore. It felt like a punch in the chest. She was competent, she was kind, and she deserved better than becoming a COVID statistic in a cartoon, but that was the point. A lot of real people deserved better too. Mrs. Nelson's death reflected the real world. Chef's death reflected something uglier. Chef was the reason I kept watching South Park as a kid. He was the heart of the show for 9 seasons. He worked as a cafeteria cook at South Park Elementary, but his real job was being the only adult the kids could actually trust. Whenever Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny needed advice about life, love, or anything confusing, they went to Chef, and Chef always had an answer. Usually delivered through a smooth R&B song that somehow made everything make sense. He was voiced by Isaac Hayes, the legendary soul singer. The warmth in that voice wasn't an act, you could feel it. Chef was the boys' mentor, their father figure, the closest thing to a moral compass the show had. For 9 years, no matter how dark or insane an episode got, Chef was there. He was the safe place. Then South Park went after Scientology. In the Season 9 episode, Trapped in the Closet, Matt and Trey laid out what Scientologists actually believe. The story goes that 75 million years ago, an evil galactic overlord named Xenu brought billions of frozen alien souls to Earth, dropped them into volcanoes, and blew them up with hydrogen bombs. Those souls, called Thetians, attached themselves to humans and are the source of all of our problems today. The only way to remove them is to pay the church for hours of auditing sessions, which can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The show put it all on screen with a disclaimer reading, "This is what Scientologists actually believe," while mocking Tom Cruise and John Travolta. Isaac Hayes was a Scientologist. Shortly after, a press release announced he was quitting the show due to his religious intolerance. Years later, his son revealed the truth. Hayes had suffered a severe stroke in January 2006 that impaired his speech and decision-making. People in his inner circle, many of them Scientologists, issued the quit statement on his behalf without his full understanding. Isaac Hayes didn't quit South Park. Someone quit for him. But Matt and Trey didn't know that, and they were furious. The Return of Chef aired in March 2006 as the Season 10 premiere. They used spliced audio clips from Hayes' previous recordings to create dialogue that sounded disjointed and wrong. Chef returned to South Park after joining the Super Adventure Club, a thinly veiled Scientology parody whose members believed in gaining immortality through molesting children. The brainwashed chef told the boys he wanted to have intercourse with them. They tried to deprogram him at a strip club, the cult kidnapped him back, the boys infiltrated the headquarters and rescue him, but he chose to return to the cult. As Chef walked back across the bridge toward the cult, lightning struck and the bridge collapsed. He fell into a ravine and pooped his pants on impact. A mountain lion appeared and started mauling him. A grizzly bear joined in. Cult members shot at the animals, but they accidentally hit Chef's body. The mountain lion and the grizzly bear ripped him apart, limb from limb, face torn off, organs exposed. Kyle delivered the eulogy.
We shouldn't be mad at Chef for leaving us. We should be mad at that fruity little club for scrambling his brains.
The cult resurrected Chef's mangled corpse as Darth Chef, a Darth Vader parody with a chef hat helmet and red spatula lightsaber. The episode ended with this mutilated version of a beloved character standing in silence. Isaac Hayes died on August 10th, 2008 from another stroke. He was 65 years old. South Park never brought Chef back with a new voice actor. Darth Chef appeared silently in background shots and opening credits, but the character who had defined the show's heart was gone forever. His image showed up as a Nazi zombie boss in a video game, his songs still playing compilation videos, but Chef, the real Chef, the one who sang about making love and gave the boys advice they actually needed, died screaming in a ravine while animals ate his body. And that's what makes me angry, even now. The episode was supposed to be revenge against a cult that exploited people, but the man Matt and Trey were actually attacking couldn't even speak for himself. He'd had a stroke. He'd been controlled by the people around him. He was the victim, and the show that built itself on his voice tore his character apart, fed him to wild animals, and turned his corpse into a joke. Chef deserved better. Isaac Hayes deserved better, and somewhere in between the satire and the spite, South Park lost the one adult who actually cared about those kids. I never really forgave the show for it. If you want to see more characters who met unfair ends, check out our video on every person who didn't deserve to die in The Simpsons. Springfield has its own graveyard full of innocent bystanders. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more.